Last night, the U.S. Supreme Court was transformed from a symbol of order into an emotional battlefield. It began with Chief Justice John Roberts issuing a stunning penalty, a $200,000 fine, against Representative Jasmine Crockett, and ended with him visibly shaken by her defiant, soul-stirring response. What started as a high-stakes hearing quickly unraveled into a courtroom confrontation that lit up social media and sent shockwaves through Washington. Crockett, the fiery Texas congresswoman known for her no-nonsense advocacy, entered the courtroom not with hesitation, but purpose. This was more than a hearing to her. It was a mission. But Roberts wasted no time in cutting through her conviction. "Ms. Crockett," he began coldly, "you're a politician, not a lawyer. Why challenge this court?" The room went still. Without flinching, she fired back. "I'm both, Chief Justice." That line ignited the tension like a spark to dry brush, and it only escalated from there. Roberts cited what he called a reckless legal position Crockett had taken in a fictional ethics case designed to test legal boundaries. Without hesitation, he declared her in contempt and slammed down a $200,000 fine. Gasps rippled through the chamber. Phones went up, whispers turned to buzz. But Crockett didn't blink. "Reckless? I fight for truth," she said, locking eyes with him. "You'll hear me." Her voice didn't tremble. If anything, it rose, steady, sharp, defiant. Court officers stiffened. Observers leaned in. The courtroom had become a stage, and this was no longer just a legal dispute, it was a moment. "You don't understand my fight, Chief Justice," she said, her tone deepening. "I'm here for the people, not your rules." That struck a nerve. Roberts lashed back. "People? You're here for chaos, Ms. Crockett, and I'll prove it." He reinforced the fine. His voice thundered across the courtroom. "Your defiance is contempt. This penalty stands." But Crockett wasn't backing down. "Contempt," she snapped. "I'm standing for those who never had a voice in this chamber. My heart's in this." The gallery murmured, not with confusion, but with resonance. Heads nodded. Some even clapped softly before being silenced by guards. The emotion in the room had shifted. Crockett was no longer just on defense. She had turned the tide. "You say I'm not a scholar," she continued, "but I carry the pain of the people who never make it to this bench. I'm ready. You want justice. So do I." Her words hit like a drumbeat. Boom, boom, boom. Court officers exchanged looks. Radios crackled. The controlled environment had become electric, unpredictable, alive. And then it happened. Chief Justice Roberts, a man revered for composure, faltered. His voice caught. His eyes misted. Crockett had cracked something deeper than a courtroom protocol. She'd pierced the armor of the court with sheer raw conviction. "You're out of line, Miss Crockett," he said, but the words rang hollow, not with power, but with weight. As if he knew she'd just redrawn the line entirely. The clash was more than legal. It was human. It was viral before the gavel even dropped, and it left one truth echoing through the chamber. Justice doesn't always wear a robe. Sometimes it walks in wearing fire. "I'll uphold order," Chief Justice John Roberts declared, his voice slicing through the courtroom like a blade. But the moment felt personal, not procedural, and it only stoked the fire burning in Representative Jasmine Crockett. What fueled the flames that night wasn't just the $200,000 contempt fine, it was her unshakable conviction. Insiders say she leaned forward, eyes fierce. "Order. I'm fighting for the voiceless, Chief Justice. I'll shake this court." Her tone was steady, charged with meaning. The kind of tone that doesn't just echo, it lands. Roberts snapped back. "Shake it. You're a headline, Ms. Crockett, not a lawyer. Pay the fine." He pointed to his gavel, the symbol of his authority. But the courtroom was slipping out of his grasp. The gallery fractured. Some whispered, "She's got soul." Others gasped, phones rising in shaky hands. Posts surged online in real time. One caption read simply, "She's not backing down." It was already racking up likes. As the tension thickened, Crockett stood her ground. I'll pay with truth, Chief Justice. You'll feel my fight." Her voice trembled, not from fear, but from raw, boiling purpose. Roberts tried to reassert control. "Truth, you're a performer, Ms. Crockett, not a litigator." The words were meant to wound. Erupted, some stood, others whispered. Court officers signaled for calm, but the moment was already too big to contain. Crockett didn't flinch. "Performer, I'm their voice. You're just now learning." Her tone soared. The energy in the room spiked. Chaos wasn't breaking the court, it was remaking it. Observers say it was clear. Now, Crockett was building to something bigger. The night barreled toward an emotional peak, and Roberts' composure was cracking. His voice thundered again. "Performer, Ms. Crockett, your passion's reckless. This fine is justice." But it was too late. His control was slipping fast. Crockett's reply came hard, eyes glistening. "Reckless. I carry their struggle, Chief Justice. My fight is real." She wasn't defending herself. She was standing for something. Someone. A whole unheard people outside those marble walls. Claps broke out. Murmurs surged. Officers held their breath. The courtroom was no longer his. Roberts pushed again. "Real, you're disruptive. You're no match for this court." That jab cut close. Too close, Crockett didn't blink. "Disruptive. I'm their heartbeat. Chief Justice, I'm turning this tide." The words didn't just echo, they moved the room. The gallery split wide. "Go, Jasmine!" someone shouted. Phones lit up. Clips flooded X.1. Trending post read, "Her soul shines brighter than the gavel." Roberts clenched his jaw, turning. "You're a provocateur, Ms. Crockett. I'll enforce order." But the line didn't land. The room wasn't with him anymore. Some whispered, "She's too strong." Others murmured, "He's the chief." But even that title felt small now. It wasn't just a clash. It was a wildfire, and at the center of it stood a woman on fire with purpose. "I'm fighting for fairness," Chief Justice Crockett declared, "and you will hear my truth." Her voice rang like a bell, clear, commanding, full of emotion. Roberts tried to strike back. "Truth? You're a politician. Your words won't sway." But his retort was fading. Weak, the crowd surged over him. Cheers, shouts, a wave of raw belief crashing through the court, and Crockett, steady as ever, answered him one last time. Words, "My heart speaks." And it did, louder than any gavel. "Chief Justice, brace yourself." Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. It was steady and checkabland with it. The Supreme Court chamber erupted into fire. The room became a crucible, heat rising not from anger, but raw humanity. Court officers whispered urgently through radios. "She's powerful," one said. "He's losing control," said another. But Jasmine Crockett didn't flinch. "You're fine, Miss Cold, Chief Justice," she said, her voice cracking with sincerity. "My fight's alive." She gestured, not for theatrics, but truth. Her words pierced through the marble stillness. Roberts, trying to hold ground, shot back. "Alive. You're overreaching, Ms. Crockett. You're done." But his voice was trembling now. The gallery burst, papers thrown, phones filming, some chanted, others cried. Crockett, unshaken, stood taller. "Done," she repeated. "I'm just starting, Chief Justice." Her resolve was peaking. Insiders whispered, "She's breaking him." The moment the night was hurling toward its emotional zenith. In that chamber of law, Roberts's authority cracked. His polished restraint gave way to something raw and visible. Tears, a court, built on silence, had become a theater of truth. "Cold fine," Crockett continued. "My fight's for families broken by injustice. Their tears outweigh your gavel." The room gasped. One woman sobbed openly. Another clutched her chest. And Roberts's face softened. "Families," he managed, voice faltering. "You're a politician, not their savior." But the words rang hollow, collapsing in the face of her truth. Cheers clashed with cries. Court officers stood frozen, hands on earpieces. The moment held then cracked. Roberts struck again, desperate now. "Savior, you're disruptive," this court demands. "Order," Crockett leaned in, eyes gleaming. "Order," she said. "I carry their pain. You can't find my heart." A roar, not from her, from them, the gallery, the people. "Jasmine, Jasmine," they chanted. "He's breaking," someone whispered. One trending post exploded. Crockett breaks Roberts' live, his jaw clenched. "You're overstepping, Miss Crockett. You're done." But the words came fractured, weak. "She's winning. He's the chief. He's supposed to." But nothing was the same anymore. And Crockett, she rose fully. Done. My people's suffering fuels me. Hear their voices. Chief Justice. Every syllable carried history, grief, power. It was more than defiance, it was deliverance. She laid bare systemic pain. She recited a story, one child, one family, one injustice that turned her ethics fight into something real. Her voice was no longer just hers. Roberts stared, eyes wet. Voices, you're defiant. But it was a whisper, a confession in disguise. People stood, some cried. The internet flooded. One caption simply read, "She's unstoppable." Crockett pushed forward. Defiant. "I'm their truth, Chief Justice. Feel it." And he did. Roberts gripped the bench. He wasn't presiding now. He was witnessing. "Truth," he began. His voice cracked. "You're a force, Ms. Crockett, but this court stands." But it wasn't strength. It was surrender. And Crockett didn't need to finish him. She just needed to finish her truth. "I'm their hope, Chief Justice," she said. "My fight is bigger than your fine." The gallery shattered tears, cheers, chaos. Some surged toward the barrier. Others just wept. Roberts wiped his eyes. "Your point's made," he whispered. With that, the gavel was silent. The gallery was not. The country wouldn't be. Sources say court officers scrambled, but the narrative was already out of there. Hands? It was everywhere. Live streams, reels, headlines. Crockett's plea. "I'm their hope." Roberts' reply. "Your point's made." And in that tear-stained silence, the verdict wasn't legal. It was human. Jasmine Crockett didn't just win a moment, she rewrote it. "Jasmine! Jasmine!" The name echoed from the gallery like a rising tide. Some gasped. Others wept. She had moved him. Court officers hovered, stunned, unable to contain the emotional swell. Cameras rolled, live streams captured every second, and the nation watched as Representative Jasmine Crockett stood unshaken, radiant beneath the Supreme Court's chamber lights. Insiders say the moment shattered protocol. Onlookers surged toward the barriers, phones flashing, capturing her defiant silhouette. Some cried openly, voices cracking through the noise. "She's their voice." Others stood frozen in awe as Chief Justice John Roberts wiped a tear from his cheek, visibly broken. The room had become a symphony of raw emotion. Radios buzzed, staff whispered. She broke him. "Keep it live," one officer murmured, unable to look away. On screen, the camera held still on the tear-streaked bench where Roberts now sat, a solemn monument to Crockett's impact. What turned this moment into history wasn't just his tears, it was her power. Her final words echoed, "My fight's bigger than your fine." And the gallery roared. Roberts didn't speak. He bowed his head. And the pause heavy sigh, louder than any gavel. Within minutes, X, formerly Twitter, exploded. Crockett's truth wins. She owns the court. Clips spread like wildfire. Her image standing tall, voice cracking with purpose, looped endlessly across feeds. The court let the silence breathe. A historic exchange too powerful to suppress. Behind the scenes, Crockett's aides gathered. One insider overheard her exhale deeply, her whisper resolute. "I spoke for them." Security swept in. Reporters surged. Crockett didn't flinch. Roberts, now composed but shaken, spoke at last. "Proceed," he said, his voice steadier but smaller. The chamber quieted. But not for long. The night had already ended in triumph. Online, the tide turned instantly. Crockett moves Roberts to tears. "She's a legend," read one viral thread. "She flipped the courtroom," analysts declared. But the fallout was bigger than posts, bigger than politics. Crockett's final plea died, not to law, but to lived pains, set the internet ablaze. She had transformed the courtroom into a crucible of truth, and in doing so, redefined what advocacy could look like. Her post-victory presence struck like lightning. Insiders say she left the courtroom with calm power, her voice a steady whisper. "I spoke for them." Aides shielded her from cameras, but the gallery still buzzed. Then came the tweet. "The people's voice won't be fined." 4 words, 400,000 likes. Replies flooded in. "You moved Roberts. We felt every word. You're unstoppable." And the footage, Roberts' tears, her voice looped endlessly. TikTok exploded. Instagram filled with tributes. One meme showed the chief's gavel tipping with the caption, He brought law, she brought heart. Critics tried to frame it. She's just grandstanding. But the momentum was untouchable. This wasn't performance. It was power. Jasmine Crockett didn't just confront the court, she moved it. Her words didn't just land, they resonated. And now, her name isn't just trending, it's etched. One post questioned her motives, but the tide had already turned. Jasmine Crockett's reputation didn't just rise, it gleamed, burnished by emotion and steel. Meanwhile, Chief Justice Roberts' camp remained silent, composed, but sources close to the court said it all. His next session was quieter, measured. Still, his vulnerability wasn't discussed, but it was felt. Unspoken, but unmistakable, insiders hint that Crockett's words struck deep. Analysts noted a shift. Roberts' towering judicial image softened, his humanity laid bare. She flipped the script, one expert declared, and the whispers followed. He felt it. His tears weren't weakness. They were recognition, a moment of respect etched in silence. Online, the ripple became a wave. Jasmine's unstoppable. That phrase echoed across platforms. Her emotional edge was now her greatest weapon, sharper, refined, and undeniable. The internet cracked open like a fault line. Supporters rallied. She's a voice for millions. Unbreakable? Read one viral post. Its shares skyrocketing. Detractors pushed back, calling her a politician, not a martyr. But their protests fizzled. The real debate wasn't about decorum anymore. It was about impact. Did she break Roberts? Clips of her courtroom manifesto circulated at breakneck speed. Experts parsed every word. One pundit stated flatly, "She's powerful." He felt her truth. Another predicted a meteoric rise, her political capital, surging, her brand. Radiant Dot sources confirm Crockett's team is already in strategy mode talks of a national address. Maybe a new advocacy push. Her silence now speaks volumes. Her triumph feels permanent. Political insiders say what she carries now is different. Not just influence, emotional weight, national attention, the ripple effect, seismic. Some legal analysts call it a cultural tremor. Crockett didn't just raise passion, she rewrote how it plays inside the court. Courts across the country are reportedly bracing either for deeper civic engagement or a tightening of decorum. Either way, they're watching closely, and the public, it's divided passionately so. Half the country cheers she moved a titan. The other half marvels. Roberts showed heart. But no one is ignoring it. This clash wasn't just courtroom drama. It was a spark of cultural reckoning. Crockett's rise is now the story. Roberts' humanity, a subplot that made it unforgettable. The impact. Beyond the chamber, her voice amplified. Her conviction, undeniable. His gavel, quieter but not erased. Just altered. This isn't the end, it's ignition. Jasmine Crockett's next move. John Roberts' next ruling. Both are primed to set the next fire. So if you've been hooked by the blaze, don't blink. Smash that subscribe button, because the next spark, it's coming.